Hello and good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in yet another update video. I'm going to try to keep this one under 15 minutes. I'm going to try really hard not to be chatty and not squirrely. But I really did want to make sure that I did a specific video on the lack of pain when I wake up in the morning. This one's really big for me because it's something that I've lived with. I was talking to a friend about it the other day, and I thought that it was 2007 when I had a really seriously bad fall down a really old flight of stairs. I ended up with a concussion, fractures, bruises. It was horrible. And I did go for physio, but it wasn't enough. And then before I had healed, I ended up with a sciatic nerve injury because I pushed myself before I was ready. So anyways, that's when I thought the pain had been ongoing since. But in actual fact, when I actually sat down and thought about it, I've been in pain pretty much constantly on a daily basis from the minute I wake up in the morning since February 1999. And I know that date because that was my first car accident, the first one I was involved in, the first one I was the driver. It was a pretty horrible accident. And I'll go into a little bit more of the details in a bit, but the accident in 1999, I never got physio. I went right back to work. The accident was on a Friday night, Friday evening after work. And I went right back to work on Monday morning. No physio, no doctor checkup, nothing. The car was a complete write-off. Luckily, it was a 97 Grand Am with a really long hood, so it saved my friend Leah and I. However, from that point forward, with age and not proper healing, not taking time at all for my body to heal, rest, nothing. So yeah, that's why this is so significant to me, the lack of pain from the minute that I wake up in the morning. So before I get to the pain, I just have one tiny little update before so that I don't forget because I squirrel. So all of the other results that I've mentioned up until this point are either the same or better. Mood, sleep, appetite, lower cravings for everything bad. Then the other thing is the hair. So today's shower, I had no hair after washing, like no hair in my hands after washing my hair. And then brushing my hair afterwards, no hair came out in the brush. And I find I've got a lot of hair, but it's always been super fine, super thin. So if I put it up in a ponytail, it looks like I have no hair at all. But I'm noticing it feels thicker, maybe just a little healthier, not thicker. I don't know. It just feels healthier, for lack of a better word. And it is a lot smoother. Normally my hair, if I don't treat it immediately, you can kind of see it a little bit here. It gets frizzy, really frizzy, and I think that's because of how fine my hair is. Don't know. But I have noticed that, like it's not as frizzy, like just a little bit here, but I keep friggin' with it. So we'll see, you know. Honestly, it's only 2 weeks in the Protandim. You know, we try to give it 30 days before we start expecting to see any real results. So this is really just 15 days, 16 days, but 16 days of liquid collagen results. So, you know, like it's not, oh my God, stop everything. But dude, I'm impressed. Mom saw me today. You know, she definitely noticed a change in mood and my skin, how it looked. It's kind of like a glowy. So that's awesome. And again, just a couple of little things that I'm noticing myself. Stay till the very end because I am going to give you a little sneak peek into what the next video is going to be. I'm not going to give you a whole lot because we're already at 5 minutes. Anyway, okay, so back to the pain and the accident. So the car accident that I was in February 99, it was a head-on collision, and it was actually Hazeldine and Terry Fox. Head-on collision. The car did a complete 360, and when it stopped because of a hydro pole. So the car was a complete write-off. We were lucky that the windshield didn't break, but the airbag went off. The seatbelt caused a lot of damage. Luckily, I was wearing it. And just the double impact caused a lot of internal damage that went unchecked because my loyalty wasn't to myself, my loyalty was to my job. So the Friday that the accident happened, I had just given 2 weeks notice for my job. So I felt obligated to show up to work so that I could train whoever I had to train before I left. I've grown since then. So yeah, like I said, you know, and then at the end of the 2 weeks, I was starting a brand new job the very next Monday. And again, I felt obligated. I didn't think it was going to look good if I took the first 2-3 weeks off work because of a car accident that happened. Again, I've grown. I'm growing. So I had that really bad accident, sat in an office chair, no physiotherapy, no doctor checkup. Months later, I was still suffering immensely and ended up at the doctor's, and yes, I'd had whiplash, yes, I'd had severe bruising from the seatbelt, I'd had all kinds of internal injuries, including a cracked bone up here from my glasses from the airbag. Not recommended, by the way. Don't test those things out. Okay, so yeah, fast forward. I'm gonna fast forward because I think the next major accident wasn't until 2007, and that's when I fell down a flight of stairs, and it was from the very top to the very bottom, and I bounced the whole way down. So it was New Year's Eve. So yeah, do that late at night on New Year's Eve and then it'll emerge. It didn't go through any kind of insurance or anything like that because it was at home. So I waited till I was well enough, signed up, went to a few physiotherapy appointments, and actually that's where I was introduced to IMS therapy, which is intramuscular stimulation. It's basically acupuncture with electric shock therapy. And 90% of the people that get that actually cringe from it because of how painful it can be. But the amount of relief that I got from it, I actually was craving it all the time. So had that accident, and then really didn't have enough physiotherapy. Fast forward again, I'm pretty sure it was 2018, I had the next car accident, and it was a deer that hit me. So that was fun. I actually just shared the picture the other day. So from that, it wasn't horrible. I wasn't speeding or anything, that it was a deer. And I think from that, I first got into the proper physiotherapy that I really should have been having all those years. And then, ironically, on my way to physiotherapy one day, I got schmucked really good. I was literally like less than a minute away from physiotherapy, from my appointment at physiotherapy for the first car accident. Got smoked. The way she hit me, it tore the meniscus in my left knee. Maybe right. Oh, it was the right, sorry. Tore the meniscus in my right knee, so boom, there I was down again. So awesome though. It was again covered by physiotherapy. I had the best physiotherapy and therapeutic massage on the planet. It lasted over a year on a regular basis. It got injuries from the original car accident in '99. It even got some of the injuries from when I was in South Carlton cheerleading and did the splits and popped the big muscle in the back of my leg. That was fun. And I never got physio for that either. So my body has taken a real licking. Keeps on ticking. But yeah, that's a lot of injuries and that's a lot of pain. And what's happened over the years is, you know, life takes over, life gets stressful. Who has time to go for a walk? Well, I did start walking and it was phenomenal. With the help of physiotherapy and massage, I was able to build up the muscle and not be in pain, so I could get out and get the fresh air and get the walk, get the exercise, get the oxygen to my muscles and my blood and my body and everything I needed, and it was amazing. But again, you know, life happens, things slow us down. I was starting to have health issues, so I wasn't able to go for walks as often. So my body was starting to show signs of weakness. My muscles weren't as strong. This is really funny. I wish I had a better story than this, but the toilets in my apartment building are generally, I guess, for seniors. So they're really short. And one day I sat down and blew the meniscus in my left knee. So good luck trying to get into physiotherapy when you're on Ontario disability benefits. So that was a challenge. I did what I could. I did what I remembered from the year and a bit of physiotherapy. Starting to get back on track. Took a step up from my patio into my apartment and my pelvis went out. I ended up going to the hospital, x-rays. My pelvis was tilted and leaning. It was all whacked out because of the years of injuries and then the amount of time that I had been, I guess, off my feet with the second torn meniscus. So it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And it was getting to the point where I know it was affecting my sleep, it was affecting my mood, it was affecting a whole lot of stuff. I was losing motivation to go for walks, and I was starting to feel better. My anxiety attacks were getting under control. I've got medication, but I couldn't feel energized enough to go for a walk to start building up the strength that I needed to again. Until day 3 of taking Protandim and Liquid Collagen. And honestly, the day 1, I thought I felt a bit of a difference, but chalked it up to coincidence. The same with day 2. Day 3, I couldn't really help but pay attention. And I'm not saying that I wake up with no pain and am pain-free all day. Not in the least. I'm in my 50s. I've only been taking Protandim and Liquid Collagen for 16 days. But, you know, at the beginning stages, day 3, day 4, day 5, I would go through till probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon before I would start feeling achy and have to start paying attention to what I was doing and whatnot. The last few days, it's been closer to 6 o'clock before I start to feel achy. And it's almost 9 o'clock, and I'm just starting to feel achy now. But I've been on my feet all day. Yeah, it's been a busy day, but I haven't had this much energy. I haven't had this much, I don't want to say hope, but being able to wake up in the morning and not be in a bad mood because you're hurt, or not be discouraged because you're hurt, and you're starting to feel optimistic, and going out for a walk. You know, I know I'm smart enough to know not to push myself. My body wanted to go for another hour the other day, and my brain was like, no, sorry. It was my brain that wanted to go for another hour, and my body said, dude, we still have to walk back. So I did. I turned around and went home, but I had still exceeded the goal that I had set for myself because things were just moving really well, and I was feeling really good. And the better I feel, the better everything just feels like it's moving and jiving, and yeah. So, like I said before, I'm not a salesperson, but I can't help but share my story because I know I'm not the only one out there, that's struggling with not being able to focus. I think I only scrolled once, maybe twice in this video so far, and damn, we're over 15 minutes. But yeah, I really have not scrolled much, which to me that shows focus, clarity, and it's an improvement. It's an improvement that I haven't seen in years. Like I'm gonna say 3-4 years at least, if not more. So yeah, looking at the time now, we're at 16 minutes. I really apologize. Like I said, chatty. We're not going to get that fixed with an RF2 activation. I don't want to. But the one thing I do want to say is I finally got permission from Dad to share his story. I'm not sharing his name. Nobody needs to know his name. But he did give me permission this afternoon to also share his story. So Dad's the real reason that I started looking into Protandim and RF2 activation, and he started a little after me because he doesn't live at the same place as me. It took me a couple of days to get it over to him and get him started, and then he wanted to start fresh in the morning like I do. So he started February the 13th. So today's day 4. And I asked him if he noticed any improvements. He gave me an honest opinion and said that he doesn't. That's perfectly fine with me because I really didn't expect to see any results until day 30 of being on Protandim, when we can potentially see a reduction in oxidative stress that we're looking for, that 40% reduction in oxidative stress through NRF2 activation. That's why I'm posting, guys, so that I can teach you guys about what I'm talking about. So what we're looking at with Dad, like the main concern with him, is a very recent diagnosis of dementia. And as far as I'm concerned, it's, and he said it so many times in the last year, it's really kind of startling how fast it's been progressing. So, he's been asking, those things they talk about, is there any truth to that? Hey, Shelly Belly, my assistant's joining. So he was wondering if there was any truth to that, any of that stuff. And honestly, there might be some truth to some of it, but I didn't see any credibility in any of it until LifeVantage, until looking at the program that I was looking at for myself, the Healthy Glow Stack, which is the liquid collagen and the Protandim daily. And what we're doing is activating the NRF2 pathway and reducing oxidative stress by 40% in the first 30 days. So a lot of the studies that I've been doing, they show improvements in people with Alzheimer's, dementia, traumatic brain injury, concussions. There's been a lot of results that we're seeing in a lot of these different areas. So Dad said, why not? And honestly, that was huge. It was huge for him to give me the opportunity to show him that there's something that I believe in that I think might help him. So he is my first customer. Welcome aboard, Dad. Thank you so much for believing in me. And what I see so far, which is, it's given me, I'm not glamorizing anything. I'm not saying it's magic. But what I've seen in the first 4 days is, number one, he hasn't complained once to me about how bad his memory is getting in 4 days. That's significant. I've also noticed that he sounds less foggy. It does sound like there's a little bit more clarity when he's talking to me. I'm not going to say grumpy, but he did almost sound a little grumpy the other day, which is, that's his normal cognitive behavior. So it's something that I hadn't seen in a little while. And I know because, it gets confusing and frustrating, and that's what he's been experiencing with the rapid memory loss. So, I'm really hopeful that on day 4, I've noticed that he may not notice, but I've noticed just speaking to him on the phone that there's a lot more clarity. So really, stay tuned. I'm hoping that by day 30, we're going to have some kind of results from his doctor as well, because there's also prostate issues. There's also diabetes, and there's also really bad knees. So yeah, looking forward to seeing the results that Dad gets to see too. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. If you made it till the end, 21 minutes, woo! I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for listening. This is amazing. I'm super excited, and I'm so glad to share my journey with you all. Thanks again. Talk to you soon. Bye.